continued environmental investigation work on Block 28. GZA Geo Environmental, the consulting group that we used for the Phase 1, is the consultant that was submitted in the grant application. To begin work, the proposed scope of work needs to be signed. This is the same proposed work and costs that were submitted in the application, just need the authorized signature, so no changes have been made since that submission. And pending signature, the soil vapor sampling is scheduled to start March 24th. I'm happy to stand for any questions.
I just have one, Trip. I think the amount of the work order and the grant are pretty close to each other. Is that correct, if I'm remembering right?
Yes, they're close. We are, I'd have to refresh, the HEDRA would have to pay, I think it's around $1,700 to hit with the TBRA grant, we have to provide a 25% match, and the original RIG grant we received for the Phase 1 counted towards that match, so the only delta on that is about $1,700 from there.
Any other questions? Okay, looking for authorization.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, that carries. Next on the agenda is our resolution 2026-03, approval for a facade improvement grant for 218 2nd Street East.
Yeah, staff received an application from Daniel Roberts, who represents the property at 218 2nd Street East, the Edward Jones business downtown, for facade improvement program. The full eligible scope of the project is brick repair and replacement and some tuck pointing of the facade and around the building, most of which is visible because it's right near Oliver's Grove Park. The project has total eligible costs totaling $51,650. Under the program, the grant award is based on 1/3 of the project cost or $5,000, whichever is lower. So I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Any questions for Alex?
Nope.
Okay, so looking for a motion to approve.
I'll move resolution 2026-03 for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and that carries as well. So next on the agenda is another facade improvement grant, resolution 2026-04 for 1800 Vermillion Street.
Yeah, staff received an application from Douglas Grandall, who owns the property at 1800 Vermillion Street. The full project is a replacement of the flat roof and then replacement of the cedar shake awnings to change those to metal awnings. The owner is aware that the only eligible portion of the project is the awnings portion, since that is the visible portion there. So the project has eligible costs totaling just over $7,000. So it would be given, a 1/3 of the total project amount, assuming it comes in at that amount there. But I'm happy to stand for any questions on this one.
Any questions for Alex? Okay, I will move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. And last on the agenda is resolution 2026-05 for designation of a building as structurally substandard prior to demolition for the Hastings Co-op Creamery.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the Hastings Creamery, we're looking at taking action tonight to preserve our ability to potentially create a TIF district in the future. What we need to do is to designate the building as structurally substandard. This is a little bit different action than what the City Council took a week ago, in which they ordered the demolition and removal, but still based on the same terms. The building itself is not in good condition. We did hire LHB architects to provide the determination that it is a substandard building via Minnesota state statutes, which they did, and it's part of this report. So we need to be able to do that in order for this area to be eligible for a redevelopment TIF district in the future. Again, this does not take any action to say we are going to establish a TIF district, but we need to be able to preserve the ability to consider that in the future prior to any application for demolition. And we're very hopeful, and with the council's action a week ago, establishing a demolition date of June 15th, we hope in short order that'll be happening. And with the discussions we've had with the contractor doing demolition, we're encouraged that that's moving forward. So what we're asking for tonight is the adoption of that resolution with the findings and designated the building as structurally substandard, and then we can make a determination on any TIF that we would be doing in the future. And I can stand for any questions.
John, do we know at this point whether the city's going to be moving forward with the demolition, or if we're still waiting on the property owner to do that?
The property owner has till June 15th to complete demolition on that. After that date, the city may take action to do that. So we're hopeful that the demolition could occur. I understand there's a contract that has been executed between the owners of the creamery and a demolition company to do so. Best case scenario, they move forward on a timely basis and do it. If not, the council has reserved that ability to take action.
Any other questions?
Just a clarification, so this has no additional requirements or alleviations of the owners from what the city council has already put in place. It's literally just to enable the ability of a TIF district in the future. No other changes will be enacted?
Correct, correct. That's the only thing we'd be doing is making that a declaration that this would be eligible prior to knockdown.
Awesome. Thank you.
John, is it a knockdown of the complete building, or is it just a portion of it, or how do they?
I think it would be any sort of, under TIF definition, any demolition of any portion of the building starts a 4-year knockdown rule. So basically, from the time it's demolished, we have 4 years to establish a TIF district on that, so.
Okay. Sounds good. So looking for a motion to approve Resolution 2026-05.
I will move to approve Resolution 2026-05.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, and that carries. Next on our agenda is our reports and information, starting with Gons Company Industrial Park Marketing.
Yeah, Gone Company's provided their monthly report for February, and they are going to be finalizing the conceptual business park renderings and releasing 2 updated brochures for the site. One brochure will be a general for sale version. The other is a more cannabis-focused for cultivation and manufacturing, since that's been a decent amount of interest that they've received, having a specific one for that. Gone provided notes that indicated that the current general industrial sector trends are looking more for move-in ready spaces with limited interest in traditional build-to-suit arrangements right now. The demand is for properties that are already there, ready to go. So this adds some difficulties with the site, but staff will be meeting with Gone representatives within the next couple of weeks just to talk through some strategy. Happy to stand for any questions.
Questions for Alex?
Alex, remind me, the marijuana component of this, it's not growing marijuana there, correct? It's, I mean,
It would be that part of the cultivation, yeah, would be indoor cultivation.
okay, and what, I just know going by marijuana fields, they stink. What kind of, do we anticipate if we went that direction, there'd be odor problems or anything else with that
Those
use
are
of the site?
Yeah, that would be something we'd have to have some pretty in-depth discussions on and what that would look like, but
Yeah, when we adopted the cannabis ordinance a couple of years ago, we identified any growing operations as having the potential for odors on that, and so we have certain regulations in place to that. But we can put something more on that as well, with us being the owner.
Yeah, I would like that.
John or Errol, what is I remember when Gone was here last night, they talked about that they had a potential individual that might want to build homes along the far side, far north side. where are we at with that? Did that go away or what? Because if we can move some of that property, maybe that's a start. I don't know.
Yeah. Put that on hold at this point. Want to take a more comprehensive look as to what we would do in the future. I don't want to be in a position in which we may sell off a portion of that for residential and then not understand what the implications may be for the rest of the park. So I think we need to take a more comprehensive look at what we're going to be doing with that property. Is it going to be an industrial park? Is it going to be residential? Does it get split some point? And do that ahead of being able to react to certain development requests.
How long do you think it would be to put this on hold before we move one way or the other?
Yeah, I don't have a time frame on that at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Next is the right of first refusal.
Yeah. Update on the right of first refusal, we executed this last year with Stretch Holdings, Joe Schnell, provided him exclusive rights to the property. This is that 4-acre property at South Frontage Road and Pleasant Drive, looks like a stormwater basin at present, across from the library. Stretch has not come to any determinations on that one. I did talk to Joe. Both agreed it would be best just to let the right of first refusal expire, so no one would have any rights on it. Does it preclude him from working on it in the future? If something comes forward, we could look at something else, but just wanted to bring that forward to your attention. Yep. Then looking into development updates, we're had a little bit of traction on what's being called Pleasant Valley Farms. This is a property of about 160 acres located just north of the high school that Tradition Homes is proposing. 375 units altogether, mostly single family, some townhome on that. There'd be a number of requirements necessary, approvals. It's within the township right now, what would need to go to our planning commission, go through an environmental review because of the size of the units. The developer, potential developer there is moving forward on that. We did take a concept plan forward to our planning commission for review and looked at the park dedication with the park board. So this will be something that'll be continuing to go on. I think the next steps on that is the annexation application and environmental assessment worksheet, which will make some determinations on environmental impact, traffic, and so forth. Those will probably be the next steps that would come forward, getting the public involved in that, some of the neighbors that are there. But it's a situation where if things go well on this one, get their entitlements through this spring and summer, get going on some construction of infrastructure later on this year, and maybe we see some homes next year on that one. So great project. They're a very well-known developer. I've done some other projects within the county here. We did talk about Hastings Co-op Creamery and the action we took there, so I don't know if there's anything new on that, other than we've been proactive in trying to feed that site availability to the development market. And so we reached out and gave that opportunity, contact to the creamery. Did meet with one individual or one entity just kicking tires at this point. I'm not sure if it'll go anywhere, but want to make sure that the development community out there has an idea that this is available and maybe something could happen there. So we'll see what happens in the future. And then with Heritage Ridge, we are going to be acting on Monday on some of the final paperwork items to allow construction of that last phase with the development agreement, stormwater agreement. They're also getting very close to scheduling their pre-construction meeting. The drawings are being finalized. They're ready to go. I think they're going to be closing on the property from the owner within the next couple of weeks. And then they'll be ready to go with the construction of the infrastructure. One of the things I know that's been sought out by the council on that has been the crosswalk locations on General Stephen Drive at Fallbrook Drive and at Northridge Drive. That there's a time frame on that they would adhere to. Coincidentally, I was at an event today. Did talk to the individual in Creative Homes and asked her about that and said yes, we're aware of that, and with the contractors that we're hiring, we will abide by that date. So that's something that's high on their priority list right now. So be good to get that going. There's They're about built out of the lots that they have available right now, and adding another 40 would be good. The other one that's come forward too, since I put this out, Sunset Hills, which is a 26-lot subdivision proposal by Greg J. Holmes, north of 15th Street across from C's, west of O'Connell Drive. And that's going forward to Planning Commission on March 23rd, to council presumably in April on that one. So that would provide some more capacity there, and that's what I have.
John, I've got a couple of questions. One, on the Pleasant Valley Farm setup, is our utilities squared away so water and sewer is manageable as that expands? Because I remember that was a discussion point.
It was. There was an area, it wasn't this area, but one south of 55 where we had some restrictions on the number of units that could be. This is a different trunk line that goes
okay.
down there, and this one has the capacity to meet the development, so we should be in good shape.
Okay. On the Walland addition, 316, today, when I was out that way, I see the surveyors are busy plotting, and it looks like they've got construction equipment sitting along the highway, so I would expect there must be gonna be some work coming up shortly. I saw that the property had changed hands in February from Best on to somebody else, and in the same day, it went on to the developer that currently is gonna move the project.
Yeah, no application has been presented at this point. I did talk to 310 Designs, who is taking the lead on development. They anticipate submitting the plat and other land use applications within the next month or so. But yeah, the parking of the equipment there isn't indicative of any approvals that we've granted at this point.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And I think the next agenda item is that we're going to remove at this point.
We are, yeah. We had asked for a closed-door session to discuss items related to Block 28. I'd like to have more of the commission present for that, so we'll delay that, and I'd ask that be removed.
Okay, that sounds good. And then we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Look at that snow.